the summer of love.
What's up everybody, it's Rexpro here, and today I'm back for another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile, and if you can't tell, I'm sort of going back over some of my older deck profiles now that a couple ban lists have passed, and this time I'm doing Yosenju's, and I do believe this was actually my very first deck profile. I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was, except I had done Yosenju Wind Witch. This time I'm doing Yosen Kaiju. This is actually a deck that I run in real life, almost card for card. The only things that I'm really missing are the 3 Ash Blossom, but I'm using Ogres instead. But everything else I have, actually I'm using a Korean proxy for my firewall, but everything else is good. I have my Baguska coming in the mail, and Doolittle Chimera as well. But everything else I got. So anyways, let's get on to the deck profile, starting with 3 of Yosenju Kama 1. I guess I probably should have said this before we got into it, but all the Yosenjus will, all of the numbered Yosenjus have the effect of when this card is normal summoned, you can immediately after this effect normal summon 1 Yosenju from your hand. All of them have that, and all of them also have an effect that returns them to your hand during the end phase, if they were normal summoned. So we run 3 of each of them. With the first one, its solo effect is that it can target 1 of your opponent's face-up monsters and return it to their hand. Then we have 3,2, which can attack directly using half of its attack points as the damage, and then 3,3, which can search a Yosenju card whenever you deal battle damage with a Yosenju other than this card. And then we have 1 copy of Yosenju Kodam. This isn't a very popular card, and I know most people don't run it, but I personally just love how fast it can make the deck if you can actually get the right cards in your hand. So you never want to draw into this or anything like that. You're going to search it off of Kama 3 just to create some really intense shenanigans. But anyways, you can tribute it and target a Yosen training grounds you control and place 3 counters on it. You can banish this card from your graveyard to do an additional normal summon for Yosenjus, which I guess is kind of useful if you have 2 Sujiks in hand, but usually if you have 2, you're going to use that 3rd Sujik on the first one to make it a total of 3,000 attack points. So its second effect is definitely useless, but being able to put 3 counters on training grounds is really fun. Next we have 2 Sujik, so it's sort of like a honest for the deck, I guess. You can target a Yosenju when it's summoned, or this one does not have the extra summon effect. So when it's normal summoned, it just you can't normal summon. I was like, that's the end of your combo, but it still returns to your hand during the end phase. But while it's face up on your field, you can target a Yosenju control and it gains 1,000 attack until the end phase. And then you can, if it's in the hand, you can discard it to target a Yosenju and give it 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. So, if you use both of these correctly, you can end up getting a monster with 3,000 attack points, which is really convenient. Especially since we run Kaijus, and you might end up having to run over your own Kaiju that you summon to their field. Next, we have our Kaijus, which are Thunder King, the Lightning Strike Kaiju. His effect, which, first off, a lot of people don't run this for some reason, which I find crazy. It's a really good card, actually. So, once returned, you can remove 3 Kaiju counters from anywhere on the field. Your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated for the rest of this turn. Also, this card can make up to 3 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. This card is meant for cracking boards because as soon as you activate his effect, guess what? Your opponent can't do anything anymore. Like, all of their cards become useless, and now you can just attack into their monsters and then use whatever other monsters you have to, help out. Really good card. I don't see why other people don't run it. We also have Dodron, which is basically a Raigeki for 3 counters. Radian, which summons a normal monster version of himself, like a token version of himself. I don't know why I didn't just say that. For 2 counters. Sticky String, it's basically like a breakthrough skill, I think, where, or is it Fiendish Chain? I think it's Fiendish Chain that negates effects and makes it so that the monster can't battle, and that's for 2 counters. And then Gamma Seal, it's a negate for 2 counters. Alright, and now moving on to our hand traps, we run 3 of Ash, because it is the best hand trap in the game, and you basically can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Without it. We also have 2 Gammas and a Driver to negate hand traps that your opponent would use against you, and to get out an Omega. Moving on to our spells, we have Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, which allows you to destroy as many monsters on the field as possible, and special summon a Kaiju to your field and your opponent's field. Also, you can banish it from your graveyard to search out a Kaiju, which can be really convenient considering that your field spell has a once per turn effect that can search a Kaiju as well. So you can get out 2 Kaijus in 1 turn potentially, making it so that you can go ahead and take out your opponent's Kaiju without really worrying about it. Or if you have comma 1 to just get out a big Kaiju for free pretty much. And like I mentioned, this field spell, we run 3 of it. It gets a counter whenever a card is sent from the field to the graveyard, with a maximum of being able to hold 5 counters. And then while you have 3 or more counters on it, you can add a Kaiju to your hand. And then if this card would be destroyed, you can remove a counter from it instead. Really great card. Obviously, it can search your Kaijus. It has the counters to activate their effects. It just makes the deck makes the 2 sort of mold, I guess. We also have the 3 Terraforming to search out the field spell, 3 Tenki to search out your Yosenjus, and you get the 100 extra attacks. Yosen Training Ground, this is also to search out the Yosenjus, or give them a 300 attack boost if you have, if your opponent has something crazy that you just really need to get over. We have 2 Pot of Desires, and we can run this deck just fine because we're pretty much anything that is an absolute necessity to the deck, we run 3 of, so it'll be fine. A Raigeki to get rid of some dangerous opponents' monsters, and 2 Solemn Strikes to stop problems before they happen. That's it for our main deck. Moving on to our extra deck, we have 2 Psy-Frame Lord Omega, great card. 2 Gaga Cowboy. This is actually your win condition, sort of. Not using a Link monster, which I didn't really explain, but I'll explain when I get to it. Getting out 2 of these and doing 800 damage each, that 1600 is usually enough to finish out the game. Then we also have Tiger King. This searches out Tenki, which searches out Yosenju, so it's just more searching. Baguska, this is a great floodgate. Same with Heartland Draco, actually. Whenever you control a continuous spell, which we have 5 of, or actually a face-up spell, so it can even be a field spell. So technically we have 8 targets, which is actually a lot better than I thought. So once per turn, you can detach an Xyz material from this card, and this turn, this card can attack your opponent directly, but other monsters can't. But while you control a face-up spell, this card cannot be targeted for attacks. So basically, if you know your opponent doesn't run a whole bunch of destruction, you can just send this out and just sleep on it, and you'll basically eventually win. We also have F0. This is for when Baguska runs out of material. You make another Xyz monster, and then you just overlay with Baguska, because when Baguska runs out, he doesn't immediately destroy. He doesn't get destroyed until your next standby phase, so you can use him as material to get out F0, which is just another floodgate. Alright, now next is our part of our win condition. It's kind of inconsistent using it this way, but the deck can win without it. It's just sort of like a gimmicky win condition that's making a nod to you know, how Yosenju's played before Master Rule 4, when they could just spam out the Xyz monsters and get out the 2 Gaga for game. That used to be the phrase, Gaga for game, so it's really cool. But anyways, do a little Chimera. You can make it using a Doggeron and Ash Blossom. So basically, if you have an Ash Blossom in hand and say you're to activate Interrupted, or you have Kyoto Waterfront, or you already have a Kaiju or your hand or something, basically, however you can get to Doggeron, make sure it is on your field if you have an Ash Blossom in hand, just so that way you can make Doolittle Chimera, and hopefully if you have the rest of your Yosenjus, go for game. It's a little silly, but it is nice, plus it's a 1900 beater, and I have done it, so it does work. It's just like really inconsistent, but the deck works fine without it. I just really like having it, just because it's really fun to pull off. We have 2 Akashic Magician. This works with the majority of the deck. And it's a bounce. Underclock Taker, this is another Link 2. Basically, we just wanted as many Link 2s as we could. And hopefully we're getting more generic Link 2s in the future, because that would really help out this deck. And I know we're getting Great Fly, which will definitely be a 3 of, for me at least, in the deck. Maybe a 2 of, but probably a 3 of. Yeah, I could probably see it as a 2 or 3 of for sure. But Underclock Taker gives 1,000 attacks, so it's just more attacking, which is really fun. Then we have 2 Decode Talker, because we can get out a lot of monsters on the field at once. So yeah, a Borreload for the same reason, and Firewall for the same reason. All of these are really good cards. The extra deck is very up to personal preference, especially with this deck, since it doesn't have any extra deck monsters for itself, which I think is really dumb. I was really hoping that Yosenju's would get a Link monster or something, but of course they didn't, because Konami has no love for this deck, since pretty much all of its support cards past what you've seen here are garbage, and even the ones you have don't really stand up to the meta. Like, it takes a lot to stand up to today's meta with this kind of deck, so I don't know, it's just disappointing. And they never got even like an Xyz, even though like they were so good at getting those kind of monsters out. It's just irritating. We tried making them a pendulum deck, and it was so obvious that that's not what they were supposed to be. You know, like, it just didn't make sense for them to go there, since all of their effects were based on normal summoning, not pendulum summoning. It was just a dumb effect. Well, anyways, sorry for the ramble at the end there, but I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm doing a lot more deck profiles this weekend just because I have a lot of free time on my hands. So 2 uploads a day, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So 6 uploads in total this weekend, plus the 2 I uploaded yesterday. So total of 8, because I have a 4-day weekend off from the school, so I can give you guys plenty of content, and I'm wanting to record as much as I can while I can. So, that's a lot. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the other ramble. Hope to see you next time, though, and as always, have a roaring good day.